everybody, this is King Tut here, and I would like to follow up the last tutorial, my last C++ tutorial, with sources that I usually use when I want to know about different C++ libraries. So there are two sources that I use, and if you don't know the syntax, if you don't know certain things, the internet will help you. The internet is always your friend. Google will be your best friend. So, the two sources I use for C++ is cplus.com and cppreference.com. So let's start with cplus.com. So when I was starting out in C++ coding, I always go to this website. It's really helpful. I learned a lot from this website. It's really useful, very easy to understand. There's some details here and there, technical stuff, but it's just, it shouldn't really bother you as much, and it takes some time for you to understand what's going on. So if I want to understand different kinds of C++ libraries, you go to reference, and it gives you all of the list of C++ libraries. So you see here, this is a C library, and C++ is built from C. It's more of an upgrade from C. So some of the libraries that is used in C is also used in C++. So CMath, for example, it was used in C, and it's being used in C right now. So CMath is used in C++ as well. If you want to understand different functionalities of math, if you want to make use of math functions such as sine, cosine, tangent, Fourier transform, so on and so forth. If you want to know what's inside of CMath, you click on it, and it gives you all the functions, a list of functions that's being used. So, like I've mentioned, it uses sine, cosine, tangent, and then arcsine, arccosine, arctangent, and there's arctangent 2, which is a different kind of arctangent, and it gives you the description. And if you're really curious about what each function does, you can click on the function itself, and then it gives you these tabs. So the functions atan2 start from C, which is in version 90, and also in version 99, and then it goes into C++ in its first version, and then it got updated to C++ 11. So if you are using C++ 11, you could click on that and see the functionalities of what it does. And there's difference, just a little bit of updates here and there, just changing the syntax, changing the naming, and adding more things into it. And then it tells you what it does here. So it returns the principal value of arctangent of y over x expressed in radians. So you're not going to be using degrees when you're entering the parameter. And the y and x is, so if I'm getting this math here right, the y represents sine and the x represents a cosine. So as we know that tangent is sine over cosine. So arctangent is arcsine and arccosine. Okay, so I've given you a bit of math, and hopefully you guys don't get confused. um, and also, y and x represents the y coordinate and the x coordinate, which it's also sine and cosine, or arcsine, arccosine. That's how I was learning high school and college. And that's pretty much it. But if you don't understand what arctan does in C++, you might as well look at the description and do a little bit of research of arctan. All right. So it tells you what the return value is. So apart from the description, it gives you the return value. And it gives you what the interval is for arctan, and that's pretty much it for return value. And then it gives you examples. Most of the time, I just basically copy and paste the example and I tinker with it. That helps me understand this. And this is on the C90, the C version 90, or C++ version 98 tab. If you want to go into C++ 11, you click here, and it just gives you different, oh, my bad. Oh, okay, my bad. This is something different. So it just gives you if an error occurs. It's more like an error handling over here. My apologies. So, okay, the example has nothing to do with these tabs. So the example here, it's going to be constant for every versions of C++ and C. And it gives you printf, which is the C version of cout. So that's, if you want to write in cout, you could do so. Or if you want to make use of the variables inside of cout, you could do it with a printf. I don't really see the difference between it. And it has a really nice edit and run. So you click on that, and let's see. And this is set to C++ 14 as the compiler. And then when you run this program, and it's weird. Do you feel comfortable when the TV or radio are not working? Do you feel lonely when the phone is turned off? What question is that? I guess yes. And it got me an error. Huh. Okay, let's stop this. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, now it got us the actual results of this program. I don't know what the last one is all about. That's weird. So it gets you what it says in the printf statement. And like I said, printf is the C version of cout. It's the same thing as cout, except this is used in C. Alright. Also, forgot to mention that the most of the code that is made for the C language can be written in C++. You just need to include this, which is the standard io.h. And this here, that's called a header file. Any files that has a .h on it is called a header file. And every library, every C++ libraries stems from are literally header files. So I'm going to talk about header files in the next tutorial. I might upload it today, maybe next week. Who knows? So that's that. If you wanna look into stdio.h, you do the same thing as you usually do. Just go here. You go to reference, and then you find stdio. Okay. If you don't know how to find that certain library, you can press Control F, and then put in stdio. And then right here, it got you cstdio, which is the same thing as stdio.h. So if you want to put the .h, just put stdio.h, or if you don't want to put .h, just put cstdio. It runs pretty much the same thing. So you find the library, you find the stdio, and then you go here, and it gives you the properties. Some libraries gives you properties, some other libraries don't. And it gives you different indicators, errors, so on and so forth. Then it gives you functions in the library. And one thing to mention, it tells you what the library does. What the library is used for. So input and output operation can be performed in C++ using the C standard input and output library. So right here, it's telling you could use the input and output operations that came from the C language, that's used in the C language, into C++. And you're going to look at different functionalities. Let's just go into printf because I explained it. It's really easy for an example. And right there. And you get to see the functions, what's being declared, the parameters. It's showing that you can put as much input into the parameters as you can. But it has to be the same kind of format as this. And it has different versions, so on and so forth. It tells you what it does, writes a C string pointed by format to the standard output, so it only writes the string in the C language. The reason why I'm saying C language, because so you guys won't get confused about C and C++. So if I were to say, oh, it writes the C string, well, what's a C string? Well, I'm referring to the C language, the one that comes before C++. So it gives you the description, and it gives you a parameter if you want to put different variables in the output, such as integer, different kinds of integer, characters, strings, from different variables. Because all it does, it only allows you to output strings, not variables. I mean, you could output variables, but if it's a dynamic variable or something like that, that's what you need to put in. And then it gives you different flags, which personally I don't really use. And then the width, again, I never use. And these, also I never used. But don't copy the way I do it, because I'm still learning as well. So I'm not an expert in understanding every functions, every libraries, and that's really expected for everybody. Nobody is an expert on all the functions and variables. Nobody have everything memorized. Then it gives you different specifiers. Then it goes to return values, and then it gives you an example. And if you want to run this, you can edit and run. You could tinker around and run this program. Hopefully it doesn't give me a weird statement. And it didn't. So you see here, if you want to put in a character in the print statement, you put a percentage sign, you put C, put A, and then if you want to put another character here, which is, you can put the character numbers, which is 65, and you could, and so on and so forth. So that's C++.com for you. Really helpful, very easy to follow, and I'd highly recommend anyone to use it. Now, CPP reference, it'll get you this. Get you the main page. And it lists out the different C++ versions, so C++ 98, C++ 03, C++ 11, 14, 17, and this year C++ 20. And the difference between all of these versions is more towards fixing and enhancing different syntaxes, different functions in the library, and implementing new functions in the library and syntaxes. So you're just bombarded with this, and you're unsure which one you should be going to. So let's just say I want to go to the General Utilities library. I have no idea what it does. And you're bombarded with this. It has really, really detailed explanation. Very specific. Not something for a beginner C++ programmer to look at. But if you want to go into, say, computer science, say, programming, and you want to learn more about programming, get to know more about this, then CPP references for you. I don't really touch upon it that much. I recently discovered this from the C++ tutorial channel called the Cherno, or just Cherno. I'll link to it in the description or maybe in the card above for you to look at his tutorial. He is a genius, let's just say that. I learned a lot from that guy. So it gets you different parts, and oh boy, I'm bored as well. And I gotta say, it gets you different functions under the utility library, and it shows you the C++ version when it was implemented, and it gets you the description. And gets you different containers, or what do you call it? Like they're under pairs and tuples, and I'm not gonna talk about pairs and tuples. Maybe in a future C++ tutorial. I've made use of pair. I'm not gonna talk about pairs. Honestly, it's enough that it's enough that you've learned more about libraries, but I'm gonna show you how to use pairs, what pair is, in a very future tutorial. It's very, very advanced. So I'm teaching at the beginner's level, and and you guys we're beginners. We don't want to we don't want to be bombarded with like high level stuff yet. It's good to go into high level stuff and get exposed, but ideally we don't we don't want to be bombarded with advanced stuff, because if we go to advanced, we're gonna be burned out and we're gonna call it quits, and that'd be bad. So trust the process, and it'll get you somewhere. All right. So let's go to input output library, and it gets you these very detailed things about the input output libraries. So it gets you the abstraction of the input output libraries. So it goes to iOS, and then basic iOS, stream buffer, and it gives you the description, manage an arbitrary stream buffer, and then very, very high advanced stuff. I personally have no idea too, but this is mostly for like if you want to get into computer science, look into very detailed the behind the scenes of the code of the libraries that is being implemented, then this website is 100% for you. So you have seen to the reference that I usually touch upon and showed you how to do. So again, it's cplus.com and cppreference.com. Thank you so much for watching. If you really like my video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, BitChute, or BitTube, please subscribe to my channel. If you're on Vlare, please follow my channel. If you're on Library, please follow my channel and download my video. And I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Bye!